All right. We're supposed to make a video about our favorite feature, and my argument here is going to be basically not sliders. I love sliders, don't get me wrong, but I found that if I want to introduce students to an equation like this, and I say, all right, guys, here it is, play with the sliders, then kids will, dutifully play with the sliders, and they'll say, A does this and B does this. But what they will not say is a more thoughtful comment about about what happens when A is a large value, when B is a large value. So what I like is actually my ability to turn on and off equations like this and have a whole bunch of them prepared. I do this activity a lot with students when I'm introducing a new type of equation. You'll notice this one is exponentials. And what I do is I give students some blank graph paper and ask them to make predictions. If I say, here is 2 to the x, I want you guys to sketch what do you think 3 to the x is going to look like? Then I can turn this on and off for them. As soon as you've got 3 to the x, I can turn 2x off and then say, hey, 4 times 3 to the x, make a prediction before I turn it on, then I can turn it on. This allows us to be a little bit more thoughtful about predicting what's going to happen. And as you can see, I can prepare a whole bunch of them, which is really nice for me. And then it's very easy for me to, if a student says, oh, but if it was 5 times 3 to the x, here's what I think it would look like, super easily I can change it and say, oh, does that match your hypothesis? Does it not? This is something that I do with students a lot, and I've actually done it also as a teacher activity. What I like about doing it as a teacher activity is, in this case, I can display for all of my students, here's what everybody thinks is going to happen. Are there any in particular that we want to talk about? It looks like everybody's pretty similar here, but here, ooh, this one's a little bit different. I wonder what this person was thinking. What did they think? Now, a downside to this is that in this case, I can say, like the first one, it was, here's 2 to the x, sketch 3 to the x, and now I can say, here's 3 to the x, sketch 4 times 3 to the x. What I would love to be able to do is say, here's 3 to the x, sketch this, and then be able to take this blue drawing that my student has done and display it on the next page. I am certain that must be able to be done in computation layer, but I have thus far not figured out how to have that happen. This is one of the reasons that I'm applying for the Desmos Fellowship, because I think that this can be a really, really helpful way to get students to think a little bit more beyond, here's what A does, and when A is a large number, it changes to this, and I can say, when A changes like this, students can think a little bit more thoughtfully about what's happening. So this is my favorite feature. I hope you guys are doing wonderfully. Thanks.